There's something quietly powerful about a morning in your 70s. The world outside your window has shifted. Time has slowed, yet it hasn't lost its rhythm. The air feels cooler, the light a little softer, and the moments somehow more sacred. You don't jump out of bed like you used to. Instead, you rise slowly, deliberately, listening to your body with more patience than ever before. But if you can still wake up and say, "Thank you," even before your feet touch the floor, you're already doing something extraordinary. Gratitude is not just a gentle whisper of thanks. It's a conscious act of reclaiming the present. It's choosing to see not what's missing, but what's still here. The warmth of your blanket, the gentle hum of life outside your window, the chance, yes, another chance, to live, to love, to laugh. Health experts call gratitude a miracle medicine for the brain and heart. Studies show it lowers blood pressure, boosts immunity, and even helps with sleep. But more than that, it changes your view of life. And at this stage, perspective is everything. There's a story about an elderly woman named Mariam. She was 74 when she lost her husband. Grief nearly swallowed her. The house was too quiet, the bed too large. Days passed in a blur, meals untouched, curtains drawn. But then one morning, she did something small, yet sacred. She wrote down 3 things she was thankful for. It felt silly at first. What could she possibly be thankful for? Still, she scribbled, "The kettle still works. The neighbor's cat keeps sitting on my porch. I'm still here." The next day, she did it again, and again. Eventually, that little habit became her lifeline. Within weeks, Mariam was baking bread again. She began calling her sister every Sunday. She even started a tiny garden with mint and basil in her windowsill. Nothing earth-shattering. But every little act was rooted in that quiet morning ritual. I'm still here, and that means something. You see, when we choose to be grateful, we choose to live fully. Not in spite of our years, but because of them. And there's more. Winning at life after 70 isn't just about health markers or financial security. It's about having a heart that's still curious, a mind that still asks, what's next? Curiosity isn't a child's trait. It's a human one. And when we lose it, we start to feel old, not because our bodies are slower, but because our spirits become still. There's something remarkable about a senior who still wants to learn, like Mr. Khalid, who picked up sketching at 76. He hadn't held a pencil for more than writing grocery lists in years. But one day his grandson showed him an online tutorial. He tried it and something clicked. Not perfectly. His first tree looked more like a broccoli floret, but it was his. Now, his walls are full of drawings, trees, sunsets, memories from his travels, his late wife's smile. His hands shake, but the lines on his canvas are full of life. Or Asha, 81, who began learning Italian just because she loved the sound of the words. "It's not so I can go to Rome," she laughed. "It's so I can speak to myself with music. You see, when you stay curious, your brain keeps building new pathways, your spirit expands, and life doesn't feel smaller. It feels wider, richer." Some people think 70 is the beginning of the end. But what if it's just the beginning of something more refined, more meaningful? Health experts say that engaging your brain daily with something new, no matter how small, lowers the risk of dementia, boosts emotional health, and even reduces loneliness. But beyond science, there's a soul lesson here. Curiosity says, I still believe there's something beautiful around the corner. And isn't that a kind of youth? If you can still wake up each morning and greet the day not with dread, but with gentle wonder, then you are already winning. If you can be amazed by how the sunlight hits your tea, or how your old dog still wags her tail when she sees you, or how your fingers, even stiff with arthritis, still know how to fold laundry with care, then you are present. And being present is where joy lives. Even the smallest joys carry profound weight. Let me tell you about Elena. She's 79, lives alone in a quiet town. Every Friday she walks, slowly but with purpose, to the local library. Not to read, not even to check out books, but to sit in the corner and listen to the children during story hour. I just like the sound of their giggles, she says. It reminds me that life goes on and it's still good. Her knees ache. The walk takes her 30 minutes each way. But she does it every week. That's not routine. That's devotion. That's soul strength. Winning at life at this stage means recognizing the value in simple things. A clean kitchen, a friendly hello from the postman, the smell of cardamom in your morning tea, and you know what else? If you can still cry at a beautiful song, still feel moved by a kind word, or still feel the sting of missing someone deeply, you haven't hardened. You haven't lost your sensitivity. You've held on to your humanity in a world that often forgets to feel, and that, dear friend, is a quiet kind of victory. So many in their 70s and beyond feel pressure to be strong, to not complain, to hide their struggles. But strength isn't stoicism. Strength is softness that endures, the willingness to feel, even after loss, the choice to smile even when tears come. Let's return to gratitude for just a moment. There are days, especially as we age, when gratitude feels hard, painful even. Bodies don't work like they used to. Friends pass. Children are busy. The world moves on at a pace we no longer understand. But when we anchor ourselves in the now, not the memory of what was, or the worry of what's to come, we find peace. Take a breath with me. Inhale. Exhale. You are here. That alone is enough to begin again. Every breath you take is an act of hope. Every smile you offer is a light in someone's darkness. Every moment you choose presence over regret or worry, you reclaim your power. You don't need to run marathons to be successful at 70. You don't need to have a packed calendar or a passport full of stamps. If you can still start your day with thankfulness, if your eyes still look for something new, if your heart still whispers, "Let's try," then you are, without a doubt, still winning. And so we end this first part not with a challenge, but with an invitation. Tonight, before you close your eyes, take out a scrap of paper. Write down one thing, just one, that brought you joy today. Maybe it was your favorite jam on toast, or a phone call, or the way your curtains fluttered in the breeze. That is your star, your proof that light still lives in your life. And if tomorrow comes, do it again. Over time, you'll look back not on the things you lost, but on the gratitude you grew, and the life you gently, wisely, beautifully chose to live. There's an old saying, if you don't move, you rust. But what they don't say is this: even the gentlest motion, done with love and intention, can keep the spirit shining like polished gold. In your 70s, movement changes. It becomes less about running marathons and more about walking to the garden. Less about bending without pain and more about rising each morning with the strength to carry your own tea to the table. And if you can still move, no matter how slowly, no matter how carefully, you are winning. One morning in a small village, 78-year-old Mr. Rahim stood by the window, staring at the dusty path that led through the trees. He hadn't walked it in years. His knees were stiff, his balance unsteady. But that morning, he saw something that stirred something old in his bones. His granddaughter running down the trail with wildflowers in her hands. Something inside him said, "Get up." And so he did. He took her hand that evening and walked. Just a few steps. The next day, a few more. 2 months later, they had a routine. He called it our little pilgrimage. A short, slow walk to the old mango tree and back. Nothing fast, nothing loud. Just the quiet rhythm of two hearts in sync. That tree became a milestone, not because it was far, but because it symbolized freedom. You see, physical activity at 70 isn't about perfection, it's about presence. Experts say that just 30 minutes of movement a day, walking, gentle stretching, even chair exercises, can dramatically improve cardiovascular health, reduce the risk of falls, ease arthritis pain, and boost mental clarity. But the real gift? It restores confidence, dignity, the power to say, "I can still do this." We often think of strength in terms of lifting things or climbing stairs. But strength at 70 also looks like getting out of a chair without help, tending a garden, even if it's just a few pots on the windowsill, reaching up to fix your collar, standing up to answer the door and smiling at whoever's on the other side. These are quiet victories, and they matter more than most people will ever know. Still, the body isn't the only thing that needs exercise. The mind, so brilliant, so complex, also longs to be engaged. There's a hidden danger in this stage of life. People stop expecting you to learn. They assume you've done it all. But the truth? Your mind is still capable of wonder, creativity, and discovery. The moment we stop learning, we begin to fade, not because of age, but because of disuse. Take Yusuf, a retired engineer. At 71, he felt invisible. He had handed over the family business, packed away his books, and spent most of his time watching TV. He called it waiting mode, waiting for meals, for visitors, for time to pass. Then, one evening, his grandson showed him how to use voice notes on his phone. "Record your stories, Dadu," the boy said. "I want to hear about your childhood." And so he did. One voice note became 10, then 100. Then he began organizing them, adding details, writing down his thoughts. It reignited something powerful. The more he recalled, the more alive he felt. He wasn't just remembering, he was creating. Today, he's working on a small memoir, not to publish, not to impress, but to pass on what he's lived. That's the power of mental engagement. It can be as simple as trying a new recipe, memorizing a favorite poem, learning how to send an email, asking a question you've never asked before every time you stretch. Your mind, even just a little, you're telling it. You're still needed, still useful, still growing. Health experts confirm what our hearts already know. Mental activity strengthens brain cells, improves mood, and slows memory decline. But there's more. It also helps fight loneliness. Why? Because learning keeps us connected to the world, to others, and to ourselves. You may not remember every detail. You may forget a word or lose your train of thought. But don't mistake that for weakness. The mind, like a well-used book, has a few creased pages. That only means it's been read, lived, fully. There's a woman named Amira, 73. She never learned to read growing up. It was her greatest shame, she said. But last year, during a quiet moment, she asked her daughter, "Would you teach me?" It wasn't easy. Letters danced on the page. Her eyes strained, but she kept at it. Today, she can read street signs. She can follow the labels at the store. But what she cherishes most is this. She can finally read bedtime stories to her great-grandson. It's not about the words, she says. It's about finally feeling smart, whole. So if your eyes still light up at something new, if your legs still carry you to the kitchen, the garden, the prayer mat, if your mind still wonders and your fingers still try, then you, dear one, are far from old. You are still becoming, and what a beautiful thing that is. Let's not forget the healing power of doing something with your hands. Crafting, painting, knitting, fixing something broken. These are not hobbies, they're therapies. There's a reason art classes, puzzles, and music therapy are being reintroduced in senior centers around the world. Because when the hands move, the heart follows. When the brain focuses, the spirit finds peace. Winning at 70 doesn't mean staying busy for the sake of it. It means choosing activities that bring joy, that give the day structure and meaning. You don't need to fill every hour. Just one moment of deep engagement can uplift an entire afternoon. So take that walk, write that poem, water that plant, watch a documentary that challenges your thinking, fix the button on your old sweater, try that soup recipe from the neighbor, and most importantly, share what you learn. Nothing strengthens the memory more than passing it on. Teaching your grandchild how to sew a button, or showing your friend how to use a mobile phone, is an act of connection, and connection is the heartbeat of health. Now, let's pause for a moment. Think about one physical activity you can still do, even if it's just lifting your arms gently in the morning. Think of one mental activity you could try tomorrow, maybe a puzzle, a phone app, a conversation you've been meaning to start. Write them down. Keep them near. Then, every time you do one of them, smile. Not because it's easy, but because you are choosing to live actively, not passively, not just existing, but engaged. Because at the end of the day, that's what winning really is. Choosing to stay present in your own life. And if you're still choosing, still moving, still thinking and dreaming, even a little, then you are, without a doubt, still alive in the most beautiful way. At 70 and beyond, one of the greatest victories isn't just in your strength or mind, it's in your heart. Emotional well-being is the quiet foundation beneath every great day, every deep breath, every gentle smile. Many think the years beyond 60 are meant for slowing down, retreating into solitude, or resigning to loneliness. But those who truly win at life know something different. Connection isn't just a luxury, it's a lifeline. Consider Fatima, a woman whose laughter still filled the room. At 72, even though she lived alone. Her secret? She never stopped reaching out. Every morning she made a small call, sometimes to a neighbor, sometimes to a niece in another city, sometimes just to the shopkeeper down the street. These conversations weren't about grand plans or world events. They were simple check-ins, moments of shared humanity, and they kept her grounded. Research tells us that social connections, especially in older age, dramatically reduce risks of depression, cognitive decline, and even heart disease. But more than statistics, it's the feeling of belonging that sustains us. Loneliness, on the other hand, can feel like a slow shadow, creeping into even the brightest days. For Hassan, who lost his wife 5 years ago, the silence at home was nearly unbearable. But rather than withdraw, he joined a local storytelling group. Every week he shared tales from his childhood and listened to others' stories in return. That simple act transformed his grief into something meaningful. He found laughter again, found tears again, but most of all, found community. So if you're watching this and feel isolated, know this: it's never too late to reach out. A call, a visit, a letter. These small acts create ripples that heal. And it doesn't have to be with family. Sometimes friendship is found in the most unexpected places. A shared bench at the park, a local class, even an online group where stories and memories are exchanged. But emotional strength also means facing your feelings honestly. It's okay to feel sadness, to mourn what is past, to fear what may come. But don't let those feelings hold you captive. Let them move through you like a river, sometimes calm, sometimes rushing, always flowing. When Fatima lost her brother, she didn't hide her tears. Instead, she wrote letters to him, read his favorite poems aloud, and shared stories with her children. It was her way of keeping his memory alive and herself moving forward. And in doing so, she found peace. Another vital part of emotional well-being is forgiveness. At 70, holding on to old grudges or regrets is like carrying heavy stones in your pockets. They weigh you down. Many wise elders have said that the greatest gift you can give yourself is the grace to forgive, not for others, but for your own freedom. Releasing bitterness allows your heart to breathe. It opens space for joy, love, and compassion to grow. It's never too late to forgive. And often forgiveness is also about acceptance. Accepting yourself, with all your imperfections and past mistakes. The journey of life is never perfect. It's a tapestry woven with light and shadow. Embracing that truth brings freedom. So, dear friend, if you find your heart feeling heavy today, try this. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Imagine setting down those stones, one by one. Feel your shoulders lighten, your chest open. Tell yourself, I am worthy of peace. You deserve it. Another secret to emotional vitality is purpose. Having something to look forward to, something to care for, or someone to love gives each day meaning. For some, it's a hobby, gardening, painting, or volunteering. For others, it's family, being a grandparent, a mentor, a friend. For many, it's simply the choice to be present, to greet the sunrise, to listen to the rain, to savor a warm cup of tea. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be yours. Remember, the value of life isn't measured in achievements alone, but in the depth of feeling and the kindness you share. Finally, emotional well-being thrives when you take care of yourself with compassion. This means recognizing your needs, physical rest, quiet moments, mental stimulation, and connection. It means setting boundaries when needed and saying no without guilt. It means honoring your feelings, whether joyful or painful, without judgment. One woman named Layla found this out after years of always saying yes to everyone. At 74, she began attending a mindfulness group, learning to listen to her own voice above the noise. She started saying no to commitments that drained her, yes to days that nourished her spirit, and discovered a new kind of freedom. So as you journey through this beautiful chapter of life, remember, your heart is resilient, your feelings are valid, your purpose is yours to define, and your well-being is a gift you owe yourself every day. If you can still open your heart, despite loss, despite fear, despite the challenges, you are winning. Because true strength isn't about never breaking. It's about embracing your cracks and letting the light in. At 70 and beyond, winning at life isn't about racing to the finish line. It's about embracing the journey with grace, resilience, and gratitude. If you've made it this far in life, carrying the stories, the lessons, the laughter, and even the tears, you've already achieved something truly remarkable. Now let's talk about one final truth: the power of self-belief. After decades of navigating life's twists and turns, it's natural to wonder if your best days are behind you. But health experts and wise elders alike remind us it's never too late to bloom. Believing in yourself, in your worth, and your ability to continue growing, learning, and loving is a victory in itself. You might think the world expects you to slow down or fade into the background, but you can choose a different path. You can choose to shine. Take Maria, who at 78 decided to learn how to swim. Not because she wanted to compete, but because she wanted to feel the water's embrace, to reconnect with the joy of movement, and to prove to herself that age is just a number. Her courage inspired those around her, a living reminder that passion and vitality don't expire. Or think of Thomas, who at 80 took up painting, filling his walls and heart with color after decades of silence. His art told stories of a life well lived and dreams still alive. Your story, too, is far from finished. So, what does it mean to be winning at life at 70 and beyond? It means honoring your body by moving it with care and respect, nourishing your mind with curiosity and learning, opening your heart to connection and forgiveness, holding on to purpose no matter how small or grand, and above all, believing that your best chapters are yet to come. Because the real victory lies in showing up, day after day, with courage, love, and hope. Even on days when your body aches or your spirit feels tired, choosing to keep going is a triumph. Remember, life is not a race but a dance. Sometimes slow, sometimes quick, but always yours. If you can still cherish the small moments, celebrate your progress, and dream a little, you are already winning. So keep shining your light, keep sharing your wisdom, keep living with intention. The world needs your story. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone you care about.